Says that now she wants to pay special attention to some specific parts of this movie that we saw, and namely the history of creation of the hardware part and the software part, because it was a long and quite laborious path there. And when someone asks that what is the difference between a copy, some random copy, and the original device, the easiest answer is that the copies, they do not have this history of creation of hardware, the history of creation of software, and history of certification of all these devices. And Dr. is saying that if we will go through the entire history of creation of the system, and we will see that there were 15 stages in the hardware development. It was very significant changes from one step to another, and 16 very major software changes. And if you don't mind, Dr. Vera will go briefly through all of the stages. The first step, we began with this biolocation probe, and the very initial 6-point Flaner scale. And we worked in this manner for 2 years almost. Well, there is no that device here, but there is this biolocation frame here. And we worked for quite a long period of time with this equipment. It was called Miranda. This was the first device. And yes, and we used these two of these biolocation probes to analyze the health state of our patient. With this technology, there were so severe limits for work, for extensive work, because the user who worked, operator who used these biolocation probes and frames, it was very difficult for people to work with it, because the person should have been with very high intuitive powers to be able to work with it. And only 1 or 2 of 10 people were suitable for work with such approach, and it really limited us in development and distribution of this device. And Professor Nesterov knew that. That is why in 1999 Professor Nesterov created this hardware-software system that totally changed the game, how the system worked. And this transition to the method of data processing by PC, by microprocessor, it changed completely the way we worked with this device. And these devices type 9 and type 11, we have been working with them for 5 years. Type 11, it had not only magnetic inductors, but this resonance cap also, and so therefore we were able to provide the full range of services. Again, we move forward, the development goes forward, and from 2005 until 2012 there was Aberon Metatron device. And in 2005 it was registered in Russia by the Ministry of Healthcare as the Class 2, Class B medical device. Then there were modifications, updates, improvements of this device, model 17, 19, 21, 25, and with each step there were some improvements into this technology. The generation power, the performance of generation was improved. It increases the amount of data that can be transmitted and received, which improves the power of our device. Then there was the next step, introduction of this broadband trigger sensor, which is built into a left magnetic inductor. The certification process also went ahead, and in 2007 we were certified by TÜV notified body, for international quality management system standards ISO 13485. In 2012, the device was listed by United States FDA, and we are still there in this register. And also in 2012 we switched to British Standards Institute and we prolonged our certification in accordance with ISO 13485. And also in 2012 we launched this new brand, Metatron, and the reason for that was shown in the movie, but again we had to do that because so many copies appeared and we had to do something to protect our product, and that's why this Metatron brand was registered, and all further developments and improvements of the device was under this new brand name. And surely there were lots of improvement there. Not only trigger sensor was updated, but also we began to use new microprocessor of 4.2 gigahertz, and we also added ultra high frequency emitter. It was built into left magnetic conductor. Trigger sensor was in the right one. And in 2018 we introduced the new development made by Professor Nesterov. This was an ultra high frequency add-on device, Z100, which is used in many countries over the world successfully. In 2005, the first steps in the field of remote diagnostics were made by Professor Nesterov and the team. And at that time it was called Medinet, and starting from 2009 it is called Tordi, and until now. And tomorrow we'll show it to you in details. There will be several reports. And Intruder says that as of today, the development of this device is complete, and we will be offering you to use it, to include it into range of your services. And the last thing about the hardware is that in 2023 we switched to American global standardization scheme, and which allowed us to enter ASEAN association, which includes 10 countries in the Southeastern Asia, which makes it quite easy to register our device there as a medical device. As you can see, this list of all the technical steps is quite extensive, and the best thing that we are continuing to improve our hardware. And Dr. is saying that as for the development of the software, she will go briefly through this list of all the stages of all the versions. It was also very great and enormous job performed by the team under the guidance of Mr. Denis Koshelenko. There were 16 stages, there were 16 versions of software, and Dr. Vera will go through them briefly, and she will name only the most important ones. We will not show here the very first software of Miranda device, because there was only some color shapes of organs, and that's it. And we will begin with year 2000. The first Metapathia version of software that already had some organs, well, images of organs, and the new interface. In 2002, we launched Metapathia 2 and 3, and it was also a very important step forward, because we introduced new images of organs with alter structures, we introduced enzymes, and we also introduced alternative diagnostics here. And we will go straight to 2007, where Hunter software was launched, and many of you already worked with this Hunter, and it was in production for 8 years, This software, for the first time, there were automatic search for various 90 pathological changes. Also, the software in automatic mode went to deeper levels of scanning, and here for the first time we introduced the work at the level of chromosomes and DNA, and we were able to look for various chromosomal aberrations. Now we go to year 2011. This is Metapathia GR clinical version. This was the first version that had three-dimensional models in it, and it was the basis for development of all other three-dimensional software. And two important databases were also introduced in 2011 to this clinical version. These are a database of emotions and bug flower essences. And as you know, in 2013, Professor Nesterov turned to Asian markets, and we followed him, and that's when we began developing and we introduced the new software. Red Dragon, the first version was. It was translated into Chinese language and the databases and the interface, and all was done in accordance with traditional Chinese medicine practices. And we must also mention 2014, the Golden Dragon version. This was the first version in which 12-point flavor scale was introduced. That allowed us to remove all the age-related limitations and allowed us to work with proliferative processes. In 2015, several versions were introduced. Metapathia Hospital for European market, Oriental Holistics for Japan, and the Opal for the American market. And in 2016, we introduced Prana version, which is specially created for the Indian market, and we put lots of effort into creation of this version. And Dr. Vera is really grateful to have our partner from India, Mr. Tripathi, here. Dr. Vera says she apologizes if you are a little bit tired of this presentation, but she really feels proud of all the achievements that was done. She knows that that was a really difficult work that led us here. And in 2017, the new version was introduced, Intruder software. For example, Mexican team, they work very extensively with this version. And at that time, when it was created, Professor Nesterov, he foresaw the complications that were ahead of us. There were no signs of pandemics yet there, but already there were some ideas to find a tool to counter these hazards of the future. And at that time, Professor Nesterov understood that we must have some tool to be ready to face these problems in the future. 284 new etalons of various microbial flora were added to this version of software to Intruder. Also, color filling of the specific 90 of affection, automatic search for microbial flora, and choosing of the most appropriate remedy to fight it. Next step, 2018, Wellbeing software. This is the health device that works that is intended for the identification of health state of patients, and Japan works quite extensively with this version, and Dr. Vera herself, she likes this software very much. Yes, in 2023 we launched Holistic Balance version, the software which is translated into Arabic in the interface and databases that allow us to enter the Middle Eastern region. And in 2024 we launched another version, Metapathia Active. And today you will hear the report about the application of this software a little bit later. This software allows you to work with the level of stresses due to various sports activities. And well, a little bit later you will hear the report. You know that recently, a couple of days ago, we completed participation in the medical exhibition, and one of the doctors they asked the following: okay, this technology goes back to the Soviet era, and it was based, he assumed, on the information taken from a very specific, very specific group of people there that was available there. And how do you continue, how you manage to get the accurate results in nowadays with all the variety of people?
Поэтому посчитала, сегодня это будет, в общем-то, заслуженно, если мы, в общем-то, с вами, да, пройдем весь путь.
That is why Dr. Vera says that she wanted to show you, to go through all the stages from the very early stage of development through and to the present day. And well, the basic thing is that the concept remained the same, the basic idea. But technology and all the implementation of this technology changed drastically. There were new hardware and new software. They totally comply with all the modern standards, or modern medical standards, certification standards, and so on. And that's why Dr. Vera wanted to show you all the amount of effort that was put into development and changing of this technology.
Я благодарю вас за внимание.